Hi, Tracy. Thanks for joining. Excellent. It's so nice to see some familiar names. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see people just kind of like jumping in here. So we'll just get started very soon, but we're super glad you're here. And we hope that where you are, it's not too hot, that you're truly beating the heat. Wonderful. In the interest of time, I will get started. First of all, thanks so much to everyone for joining. This is just always exciting for us, the community team, to get to. Good morning. This is so exciting for us to get to connect with you, our clients, to share a little bit about what's new and exciting in the community. So this is our Convos with Community Beat the Heat edition. This event is based on our quarterly newsletters that we put out about community. You can find those in Community Corner, and really what we try to jam pack them with is just the latest and greatest. So any new events that have happened or that are coming up, what you're talking about in discussions, and if there's anything new that we need to update you about. We really like to just host this event to highlight what's in our newsletter. So thank you so much for joining us. I think Awesome is going to take you through the agenda just to give you a brief overview of what to expect.
First off, super excited to see so many people joining us today. And just as we get started, there might be a few hopping into this Convos with Community call. So we'll start off with a quick round of introductions, give you a quick tour of the community. Following that up with, we'll be walking you through the latest and greatest in the community, things that we've added with your feedback to improve your community experience. Following that up, we want to extend the hand over to again ask you to continue sharing us that feedback, allowing us to take actions to enhance your experience. So truly partnering with you, and this is a true conversation. So throughout this entire webinar, please feel free to keep engaged in the chat as well. And we'd be happy to respond there or even just like address any of the questions that you may be having through the Q&A feature as well. And then finally, we don't want to just keep it to the extent of this call. We really want to keep connected with you. So we'll be sharing with you a few ways that you can continue to be connected with the community crew. And yeah, without a further ado, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Asim. I am a community specialist here with this awesome bunch. We love to chat with you in the Brightspace community, learn, share, connect, and grow with you. I'll pass the mic over to Julie.
Thanks, Awesome. I am Julie Lau. I'm also a community specialist. And as Awesome said, I am just super excited to be here. Feel very thankful to be part of the community team and to get to connect with all of you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Steph Baldwin. I'm the team lead for our community. We're missing out on our wonderful team member, Andrea Blackwell, who is on holiday right now. So I know she's going to be really excited to catch up with everyone for our next Convo with Community a little bit later on in the fall, but she's saying a hello. I have the pleasure of introducing all of you to a bit of a community tour. So for those of you who are very new to our community or are just looking for a little moment of kind of catch up and refresh, especially in light of some of the changes that have happened in the last quarter, this is a great moment for you. Over the last quarter, we released a new kind of login. This is called our single sign-on account in your community environment. When you register for the single sign-on, as we hope all of you have done already, if you haven't, don't be shy to leave us a note in community. We'll get back to you. This single sign-on account in community helps to connect you to all kinds of spaces throughout the site. And we're going to talk about each of those right now. It's a really important step because it's your key point of access to reach all of the spaces within the site, especially those areas where you can have kind of a next level impact and find out what's happening with Brightspace, what's happening around community, and get access to a ton of very helpful resources. So let's sort of start out imagining we're coming to community for the very first time. When you first come to the site, you'll be asked to sign in with your new single sign-on account or to register for one if you haven't yet. There are instructions posted. Again, if you ever have trouble, the first thing that you can do is ask us a question or send us an email if you need a hand. But we'd love for you to please post a question to community. When you post a question to community, which you will be able to do once you've signed in, you are not only kind of sending it to one person, you're sending your question out to the entire community of Brightspace experts. So we have folks who are administrators and instructors all across the world who have just a profound amount of Brightspace experience, just like I think many of you here on the call. And the thing is, I think often we specialize in particular kinds of areas or tools within Brightspace that are really in our wheelhouse. And it's really handy to be able to connect with those kind of power users or experts who really specialize in tools that maybe are outside of our own wheelhouse or outside of our own kind of area of specialization. Not everyone is always aware of this, but our average time to respond inside of community is typically within just a few hours. So when you post a question, you get a really fast answer back. And what's really handy is you'll get an automated email to your inbox that will have a link back to your question, and probably even more important to you, back to the answer that you've received when you receive one. So you don't have to stay within the site. It is smart enough to reach back out to you once you have an answer posted. But what if you want to connect with more experts, like in a call like this one? Check out our events. You have access to community-wide events. Those are events that are open to everyone. And then through your subscription to communities of practice or groups, you can filter for regional specific types of groups and events. You can filter for things that might be really specific to an area of pedagogy. So for example, if you're really interested in instructional design best practices, we have a group for that. We also have groups on areas like outcomes, so diving into sort of assessment strategies. So there's a ton of really interesting things to be found, certainly within our communities of practice. And also often those communities of practice have regular occurring events. A great example of this is our accessibility interest group. If you haven't joined that group already, I would definitely encourage you to. They're having some really fascinating discussions right now about the kind of interplay between artificial intelligence and accessibility. And that's a conversation where we need lots of diverse voices from educators, folks who are involved in teaching and learning from everywhere. So please help us to keep that conversation going. It's a very pressing and important one. Something else that I wanted to talk about is the importance of bookmarking discussions. We have content here in this slide. We're going to leave it for you so that you can be linked directly to these spaces and directly to the information about how to bookmark a discussion, how to adjust your notification preferences. But when you bookmark, it actually is tied to your notification preferences. So you can choose if you get an in-platform notification that someone, for example, has posted to a discussion that's important to you, or perhaps that someone has replied to you within a discussion that's important to you. So you'll get, again, either an in-platform notification or an email notification. Bookmarking discussions is very closely tied to this next piece that I want to talk about along our tour, which is our release notes. So every month, of course, we're posting new content about what's new, what's changing inside of community. We have discussions all about the release notes. These are a great one to bookmark so that you get that automated notification when the new release notes have been posted. And one of the things you'll find in those monthly release notes is connected to this last stop on our tour, which is our product idea exchange. So this is a space where you can leave us your thoughts and ideas about new products or services that we might add to Brightspace. And it's a really important area because our product teams are using this product idea exchange space in order to understand how we might change key areas of the Brightspace platform. So every month as we're working on new releases for the product, we actually release changes inspired by our product idea exchange, and we announce them in our release notes. So every month we'll actually call out the specific Pi items that have made it into product. Something that we talked about quite a bit in our newsletter is the release of our roadmap. So you can actually find a digital roadmap inside of the community as well that will explain to you what specific areas of product our dev teams are working on currently, so that when you're interacting with Pi, you know where you might add more comments, more votes to help guide some of the decisions, some of the thinking of our product teams as we're working to release new features. A ton of areas of value, a ton of really cool spots to check out. And your single sign-on account and community connects you to the product idea exchange. It also connects you to this other integrated part of our community called our Learning Center. Last thing that I'll mention here before we kind of move over to the next piece is we want to stay in touch with you, of course, in our community, both sort of in our forums and also through events like this one. If you are attending today's discussion, our Convo with Community, Beat the Heat edition, and you are also an educator who is involved in a semester type of format. So if you're working with learners who work in terms or semesters, I would definitely encourage you to kind of keep an eye out for a special event. It's listed in our community events even now. Julie will chat a little bit more about it later on in our presentation, but it's called Rollover Best Practices and Strategies. So you'll be able to navigate to that event using the image we have up on screen here, where you select events from the navigation bar in community, and then through community events, you'll see a link to that particular one. It's a really great resource to help you understand how to prepare for the next semester, and it accompanies a brand new course, which Julie will also chat a little bit more about. So if you're looking for more best practices on how to move from your past semester into the new one, we are really working hard to make sure that we're giving you the right kinds of events at the right time. So I just wanted to highlight that one. It's another great opportunity to connect with Brightspace experts. With that, I wanted to share one more thing that's recently been released over the last quarter, which are our known and fixed issues lists. So in Legacy Community, we would post these, but not in a format that maybe was always as immediately helpful, in that they were not searchable through our Legacy Community. They were posted as sort of very large Word documents. And that made it more difficult in order to find out up-to-date, very current information about a particular known or fixed issue. In our early launch of the Brightspace community, this new community site, we released an ability for folks to download the fixed issues list or download the known issues list. And one of the things that we heard was, since we moved to an all digital format that allowed you to download the most recently updated list, it was helpful in that you could access that content, but challenging for some of our members that it was a requirement to download. And that's a very fair point, that requirement to download could be challenging for some folks. It's a really great example of how helpful and important it is to share your feedback with us in community. We had lots of folks actually post in community, like telling us, I don't love having to download it each time. That feedback helps us to move quickly and to move in the direction that's going to be most impactful for you. It happened, I think, maybe a month and a half, max 2 months after receiving that feedback, that we were able to release the next iteration of that change, which was a new embedded component. So we now have the fixed issues and known issues lists appearing right inside of the category pages, where you can scroll through, search through, and you don't have to download them anymore. So a lot of change pretty quickly, but so important to us that the changes that we're making in community align to your values and expectations. So really, please keep chatting with us, keep connecting with us in events like this. It really helps to make sure that we're building a community together, and a space that feels like a warm, welcoming, and very valuable one that honors your time. So a big thanks again to everyone for helping us make these important milestones, and for connecting in today's chat.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph. The other thing that we really wanted to chat a little bit more about were discussions that are happening inside the Brightspace community. And truly that is inspired from all the awesome questions that you've been posting as community members inside the Brightspace community. We as the community crew like to hop in and see what everyone's talking about. And we do that through tags. Tags are a new feature inside this Brightspace community, where you can, using tags, tag your question for a particular Brightspace tool. So if your question's about, for example, quizzes, and you put your question in right within the draft mode of the post a question page inside community, you will be able to tag your questions, which really helps connect your questions to particular Brightspace subject matter experts. And you can also filter through for questions by particular tags. And that basically means by tool. So what we did as the community team was take a look at which were those tags that were most often employed in the past quarter. And not surprisingly, because it was end of academic year for a lot of instructors, just before the summer break, finishing off a lot of that grading stuff, the gradebook tool really saw a spike in questions being posted. And what we like to do is really link out to the tons of awesome resources that are published inside our Brightspace community knowledge base for gradebook resources. And what you'll see is that we'll also keep this slide as a leave behind following this session, which will help you connect to tons of these awesome resources, which are, again, free to access right within the community. So for example, if you're curious to learn more about grading system types and understanding a little bit more about grading inside Brightspace, you can check that article out. We also have a lot of questions were about exemptions. So we also thought that potentially having a link out to a documentation which talks about how can you include exemptions inside your final grades? How do you create and delete categories of grades? How to import grade items, and a lot more. So again, these are just a few of those like getting started with Gradebook 101 resources that we wanted to connect with you. And again, it's primarily inspired with your use of the tags inside the Brightspace community and all the awesome questions you're posting. Keep on posting. It really helps our subject matter experts understand where is that gap in knowledge. And it also helps our documentation team understand how can they enhance the Brightspace help documentation experience for you so that you can be connected to that enablement resource more effectively. So thanks again, and keep posting inside the community. We really enjoy seeing your discussions and hopefully getting you the answers so that you can enhance your teaching and learning experience inside Brightspace.
Thanks, awesome. Something that I get to chat about is a very brand new Learning Center resource called Rollover Best Practices and Strategies. So I know Stephanie already gave you a little bit of a sneak peek of this one. The community crew was very lucky to partner with Alex Lowe's. She is one of our customer success champions here at D2L. And really, this resource was, again, inspired by you. So as she was chatting with our customers, she was really finding that there was sort of a gap. We were missing like this one-stop shop resource to really help our customers access content that would help them with different workflows to help you change over your systems from one term to the next. So in this resource, you'll find information about how to manage users, how to create courses, how to sort of reuse existing learning materials and courses that you have to so that you can change over to a new term. Some of the highlights of this resource are that Alex included a downloadable checklist. So it's really in there so that you can make sure that you're checking off all of those boxes, that you haven't missed a step. She also included some short walkthrough videos that really get at those common workflows to be able to do this. So those are super handy and helpful. And as like an added bonus, you'll receive a shareable badge for the completion of this course. So you can brag to your friends that you're a rollover expert.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie, for walking through that one.
Yeah.
Just to rewind a little bit, but you can access all of these courses through the Brightspace Learning Center using the single sign-on when you're logging into community. So make sure to sign into the community or create that account so that you can connect to these courses real seamlessly with just a click of a button, which is the Learning Center that can be accessed through the navigation pane. Another real quick resource, which is a new launch and something we're especially proud of, is the Transforming Feedback with Video Note tool. And this was a customer spotlight course in partnership with Joe Cisco, who's a sessional instructor at the University of Windsor. So the quick story here with the course, and that's why we're actually so happy about this course, is it was through a simple mention on the Brightspace Help Twitter handle where Joe reached out to us and said, you know what, I wish there were more courses or more resources inside community about the video note tool because it's so underrated, but I really think it provides so much value to me and I really enjoy using it a lot. And then we thought, who else would be a better ambassador of the tool or someone to show off all the awesome stuff they're doing with their tool than Joe himself. So we actually reached back out to him and he was super eager to give us his time and share with us a little bit more, and also the Brightspace community members, how he's using VideoNote to really transform feedback. So something I really wanted to highlight about this course was that it's a real short one with an estimated completion time of less than 30 minutes. But something that you'll absolutely love is Joe's using video notes throughout this course to actually show you how he's incorporated them. And what he really has said is, like a lot of faculty and a lot of students have told, we really love how the use of video note really brings the personality of the instructor to the course and really enhances and transforms the learning experience and truly personalizes it for all the learners. So Joe is really giving you tips and tricks in this course and showing you how you could use the video note tool to transform the way you can provide feedback, you can provide instructions for assignments and more. So definitely check it out. And something I wanted to highlight was each of our Learning Center course has an end of course survey, which really helps us understand the value that you've received from interacting with this resource and all the resources truly. So again, share with us that feedback. We want to learn from you. Is this what you're looking for? Is this sort of enablement resource that you want to see more of, less of? How can we pivot or how can we continue? So truly provide us that feedback. We want to learn with you and from you, and hopefully you enjoy these free resources that you can access via the Learning Center. Another real cool one, and we've been having a lot of customers really take the charge inside the Learning Center, and we love that, is Lynn Thomas's take on gamification. This course actually goes back to last year when we launched our instructional design escape room, which was the first ever Brightspace escape room launched in partnership with our instructional design team, where they were sharing how can you gamify learning experiences using Brightspace tools. So using release conditions, intelligent agents. Yes, it sounds very complicated, but I promise you once you see the course, it's not. But truly, you can use all those tools to transform learning experiences. And what that led to was Lynn, who was a secret Brightspace community member, hopping into the course and then feeling super inspired and thinking, how can I take away from this course and really move gamification experiences into my instance of Brightspace? And so Lynn started her work. She really started exploring, did a lot of like her own trials and testing, implementing her escape room inside her Brightspace environment. And then cut to, I think 3 months back, she actually was filling out a feedback survey for us. And she mentioned that, hey, I used your escape room to create my very own escape room. And I found it very valuable. And she gave us that feedback. And we were super pumped. And we were like, this is exciting. She went to the Learning Center. She came to us and she gave us this feedback. Let's show off Lynn. Let's shine the spotlight bright on her. And that's truly what we did. We took her time and really, she was super generous with it, and she helped bring to you a walkthrough of her escape room and how she's been using tips and tricks. She has a blog post drafted with tons of freemium resources that you can check out of how are those various ways of really taking that next level step inside the Brightspace gamification experience. So springing off our instructional design escape room to really personalizing the escape room for herself, and then now, this is a course available through the Brightspace Learning Center, free for all again, to access and really see how Lynn's taken that escape room inspiration, designed her own, and shared back with us how she's truly gamifying the experience and transforming learning experiences. So we encourage every one of you to definitely check out these free resources, connect with us. And if you're interested in potentially partnering with us to share a resource in the Learning Center, we'll take it. We love it. So again, we really don't need a lot of your time. If you want to share just a blog post, a resource, an article, or build out a course with us. We are open to everything. So again, don't feel shy. We don't bite. We definitely want to help you share and connect with other community members. It's as simple as sending us a note inside the Brightspace community, sending us an email, or through a quick Twitter, hey, mention, and we'll reach out to you.
Absolutely. So as we've been saying, we love connecting with you. So along with two of our newest Learning Center resources, Rollover Best Practices and Strategies, as well as Lynn's take on gamification that we just walked you through, we are hosting events. So of course, we'd love for you to dive into those resources on your own. They are accessible to you at any time of day or night, whenever suits you. However, we would also love for you to connect with us and the course creators during these events that we have coming up in August that we're very excited about. So the Rollover Best Practices and Strategies one is happening on August 3rd at 12 to 12:30. And the Lynn's take on gamification is happening August 22nd from 9, I think it's 9 a.m. Eastern to 9:45 a.m. So within these events, we'll really walk you through the content, showing how you can use the content in your Brightspace instance, either to do something like change over your course from one semester to another, or maybe you want to just like up the ante and make it a little bit more fun. So diving into that Lynn's take on gamification resource, actually, we added a little bit of gamification ourselves too. So you'll get a little taste for it as you sort of go through a couple of the little gamified experiences that we put in there. But please come to these events, meet the course creators with us, dive into the content, have an opportunity to connect, ask your questions, so that you can use this content in your Brightspace instance. Also, yeah, thanks, awesome. So just some other ways to connect. I know we just can't say it enough that we love connecting with our community members so much. It really is the inspiration that drives everything that we do in the community. So I did just want to mention about events as well. During Fusion, we had an ongoing community events survey, and what we heard was that you really are preferring like shorter events. So typically in the community, we've hosted events to be about an hour long. What we heard from you is that you prefer them to be about 30 or 45 minutes. So we're really taking that feedback as we plan for future events, that there'll be sort of shorter times to connect. Yeah, so other ways that you can stay connected to community is through asking a question. Steph already mentioned that we have some really great response rates, and posting a question in community allows so many Brightspace experts as well as D2Lers to get eyes on that question and to jump in their areas of expertise. Our community FAQs article was, again, truly inspired by you and the questions that we were hearing. So as you've been asking us questions, we've been adding it to the FAQs article just to try and enable you to use community in the smoothest way possible. Our community updates discussion is where, we just keep you updated on all of the things happening in community, whether it be the product roadmap release or our events. If there's a new article or a new resource happening, that's where we'll keep that updated. Our community events discussion is updated on a weekly basis, normally at the start of the week. That really gives you an overview of the events happening that week in community. And as Stephanie already mentioned, we really do encourage you to bookmark those discussions. What bookmarking does is allows you to get those notifications. So whether you prefer to have a notification emailed to you or an in-platform notification, that will allow you to really stay updated when those discussions are edited and updated. Please reach out to us at our questions@community.d2l.com inbox. We love hearing from you, or on our Twitter handle @BrightspaceHelp. Yeah, lots of ways to connect with us. And it really does put a smile on our face when we hear from you. So anytime.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Julie. And as we are wrapping this session up, we did want to definitely connect with you and ask you more about how you felt this event was so that we continue to deliver events that provide value to you. We definitely want to curate events and present them to you, which are going to be of value and shape them in the future so that we continue to keep connected with you and learn more from you. But with this said, this is truly the time for Q&A. So definitely chime into the chats inside this event. But at the same time, feel free to post your feedback through a quick two-part survey that we've hosted on Zoom so that we capture that feedback and help that to shape the future events. But again, thanks so much for your engagement and your participation throughout this session. And again, any questions about the upcoming events, access to courses, or new feature releases inside the community, this is truly the time we want to connect with you and learn from you and with you.
I'm so pleased to see how many of you were able to spend this time with us. We're so lucky to have you joining us and connecting in this event. It's been just wonderful to see you all, and truly your feedback, especially your thoughts on what kinds of events we might plan next or what types of resources you might be looking for in community, really goes a long way. So don't be shy at all to leave us a thought, even if it's feedback, doesn't have to be an official question. Even in our Q&A component here in our webinar, we'd love to hear more of your thoughts about what's recently been released in community or what you're hoping to see next. We hope you all will stay connected with us. Don't be a stranger. It's not our community way. It's been wonderful to have this time to share a little bit about our newsletter. We hope you're taking a moment to check it out in our community, where we have links to all kinds of resources that we talked about in our webinar today. And keep your eye open for the next one. This quarterly series, I think, is just getting better and better as we go, as we're hearing more feedback from each of you. So truly thank you all so much for making time to share with us.